Edit.
Hey, Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great, good to hear. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk about this wonderful film. I absolutely loved it, and I did have an opportunity to talk with your husband a couple weeks ago here in Toronto. So this is great that we can talk to you about it. I wanted to ask you first off, how much did you actually know about Maria Altmann and the plight of this painting before you even started to work on the film?
Well, I knew quite a bit before I started to work on the film because I'd been aware of a documentary that had been made on the subject. But when it was occurring, I knew nothing. I hadn't read any articles about the court case. It just had passed me by completely. So I was really happy to be reminded of the story because it's a very important story to tell. It's a story of a terrible event, but that one in which the course of history has gone some way to try to rectify the wrongs that were perpetrated on this family. So it's got a sort of positive, happy element to it. So I was really proud to be a part of the movie. I think it's an important movie for people to see.
Oh, absolutely. I so agree with you. And one thing that really stuck out for me too is that, you know, it's just so important for the younger generation to know about these things, to keep these stories, you know, reverent and important. And I know that that was a very important part for your husband as well, to bring the story to the big screen. For you, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's exactly as you say, and I think the movie makes the point at the very end when the characters are questioning why they've embarked on this path to try to get this painting back from the Austrian government, and she says, and I think it's terribly right and terribly moving, is that it's not about who owns this piece of art. It's about the fact that the story has to be looked at and these wrongs have to be addressed and have to be put right to the extent that they can be put right. I mean, the fact is that the Nazis moved in and they destroyed her family. They killed her parents, and you can't undo that. You can never rectify that terrible wrong. But you can look at the story, you can acknowledge the past, you can acknowledge what was done wrong, and you can put it right to the extent that it is possible. And that was what was important to do. And the other point that she makes is that we cannot forget this, because no one in a million years when it happened could have imagined that it was inconceivable to them that you could imagine that one part of humanity could perpetrate these wrongs on another part, and yet it did happen, and it could happen again unless we're aware, unless we're educated, unless we're on guard, unless we're protecting the way of life that we take for granted. So for me, that's why it's very important that stories like this are told.
Absolutely, I so agree with you. And of course, you know, you're playing the federal judge, and you're in a courtroom with, Helen Mirren. How was that?
Well, as you can imagine, being at the podium and having Helen Mirren and Reynolds hanging on my every word was quite a heady feeling. I mean, just to be there and everything that I uttered, they were on pins and needles to hear. So that doesn't happen to me very often in my life.
Well, excuse me, you don't think that Hugh Bonneville does not, he's totally going on every word that you have to say, Elizabeth. Please, come on, seriously.
Hugh Bonneville?
Yes.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. No, not for 1 second.
Oh no! I don't believe you. But to work with her and watch her in this, and especially she's so magnificent in this movie.
Oh,
my goodness,
she's absolutely amazing, and he was great too. I mean, the whole cast was just phenomenal. I feel so lucky to be part of it. I can't tell you.
Yes, definitely.
I really do.
Yeah, and you know what a lot of people don't know about you is that you front this little rock band, Sadie and the Hotheads. Now I want to know, how amazing. You've had another album recently released, and where do you find the time?
Well, I squeeze it in. It's not easy. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of time on the set when I'm just playing my guitar, and I've got this little roll-up piano now that I'm playing in my dressing room. So, you know, it kills time. It certainly.
That's wonderful. Now, of course, us Canadians, I can't let this, you know, interview go by without talking Downton Abbey, because we're just seriously. When you started to work on that show and playing Cora, did you even imagine how popular and how around the world it's really touched people?
I know. It's just, it's still to this day totally shocking. I just can't believe it. Nobody in the cast can. You know, because it just feels like a nice show that we all enjoy working on, but the fact that it's connected in so many different countries and all of that is just, I don't think anybody really understands why, but we're just really pleased.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should be. I mean, it's just wonderful to watch it. I just love it so much. I mean, so much so that after it airs in London, I find it online and watch it. I can't wait till January to watch it here in Canada. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I know. It's just so fantastic. And, you know, I'm also very upset that, you know, we have one more season left and then we've got to say goodbye to everybody. But for you, I mean, to be working with this cast for so long, you've obviously become a family, you know, offset too. I can't imagine that you haven't. What has been the most exciting or special thing for you to work on a show like Downton Abbey?
Well, I think it's just as you say, that the privilege of living with the same group of people in this and being the same character over such a long stretch of time is an extraordinary experience, because I no longer have to think about who this character is. It just is there. Mm-hmm. So that you feel as though everything has an added depth for that reason. And you know, you forget about the fact that you're actors on a set. You know, we've all been growing together, and we've been going through these experiences together. So you just feel like you're just living, which I haven't quite had that experience in quite that way in my career. Yeah. It's really a privilege. It's quite extraordinary, and the characters are growing in the same way that the actors are growing. You know, the kids when they started were just kids. You know, for some of them it was their first job, and now they're seasoned red carpet professionals. So it's just, you know, it's been incredible.
Yeah, and how much, like, of course man, I interviewed you so many years ago. I don't even want to tell you how old I am, but I you know, I've been, you know, following your career. But of course, you live in London now, and how much, and as Cora is someone from the States who now lives in London. So how much does that kind of overlap your real life and her?
Well, I mean, there's so many similarities, because I've had daughters myself who are English daughters. They're raised in a culture that's different to my own, and that's an interesting conundrum. I mean, all their references, the way they've been educated, are different to the way I've been educated, my natural references. So in that sense, I have a lot in common with the character. You know, I think sometimes Cora does what I do, which is look at her English family and just kind of gobsmacked by how they react to things, and it is different to the way an American would react and deal with things. And in some ways, just like her, my children are part of a culture that's different to mine. Right. And I mean, you know, we're extremely close, but we've been our influences have been different. So it's a very interesting challenge.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I'm very, very jealous of all the beautiful costumes you get to wear in that show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, you should see them this year. They're better than ever.
Oh, I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait. Well, you know what, Elizabeth, just congratulations. Thank you again for being a part of the film and talking about Women in Gold. It is such an extraordinary movie. I just loved it.
Thank you. I feel that way too.
Yeah, and thank you for Downton. Oh, my goodness. I'm like counting down the months. So seriously.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's just such a wonderful show, and you're so great in it. And just
you.
Give a hug to everybody on that set for me, okay?
I will. I actually will from you.
All right. Okay. Take care. Have a great day.